Good afternoon, Dr. Nettles. How are you today, good doctor?
Good afternoon, Chef Jay. How are you, my friend?
Another day on God's green earth, blessed, feeling awesome.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year, doctor. Yeah, the message is getting out there slowly but surely, even in the medical community from the intern med doctors for the annual physicals. They're getting more knowledgeable about HDL fats, so we'll get into that later. But today's discussion is a continuation of our discussion on nutrition, specifically testosterone. So I have a few questions maybe you could answer, and then we'll go from there.
You've always done such a great job with research, Jay. I'm not sure what I can do to
Well, um,
add to any of the answers that you already have.
well, I look forward to these chats we have, not only for sharing the information, but I always get something personal out of it. So it's always an enlightenment for me, and I look forward to it. So I thank you for your time and the opportunity just to have this time together.
Thank you as well, my friend. I equally learn as much from you and valuable information from you as well. So thank you.
All right. So we know, talking about nutrition, testosterone, that everything inside us is made from the food that we eat, but we have the power, the choices, and the opportunity to increase our testosterone levels to our, we'll say, genetic potential by our diet from the foods that we eat. Is that right?
That's a good way to say it, where our genetic potential can be limited or restricted by our dietary lack of consumption of the appropriate molecules, which are the building blocks required to make that individual molecule.
Right. Now, just a quick question. When we talk about the we'll say the enzyme deficiency, the capsule prescription that people on the program Stop and Regrow that I take still, that capsule also will increase testosterone when coupled with the nutrition, correct? Because it's a hormonal effect.
Absolutely, Jay. So, what most of well, all the patients that have come through the part one and part two assessments, they have all learned how the cholesterol fats that you consume in your diets will transform into the testosterone inside your body, and you will meet what is called your genetic potential, which we can measure with x-rays down to the picometers, and we can measure the amounts that are being made with the increase of or optimization of nutrition, and then we can use the enzyme regulators to move the molecules into what we call the right buckets. And this is probably over the head of a
Yeah.
lot of the people that are following your channel right now. But I thought, and I hope we this year we read one of those BRCs, biomarker report cards,
Hmm.
on air so people can actually follow it. What I can do for you today, and if you share this via video,
Hmm.
the people listening, Jay, they can actually view this diagram that I'm going to show you. And you already know a lot
Okay.
about this diagram, but let me share this with you real
Yeah.
quick.
Y-
So this is the diagram where at the very top you'll see cholesterol molecule, and you'll see the cholesterol molecule comes from the nutrition, your dietary choices. So if you're eating the right good fats, that cholesterol molecule will come into the body. And I'll annotate here. Will come in, cholesterol in, and then it starts to make all of the hormones inside our bodies. And you'll see that this is where the
mm,
dihydrotestosterone can be made, the estrogens can be made, the corticosteroids, the testosterone. All those molecules start within this algorithm or this formula, right? The patterns. So you
So
have
you're
to stay within the format of where the molecules can move.
so where do the aminos come in? Because I know sometimes, like in my own prescription, there's aminos in there. Like how do aminos affect this?
So this right here, so the first thing we kind of separate it. So the HDL molecule that comes in from the good fat comes in and makes all of the hormones inside our body. Also, that HDL cholesterol is used for the fat that lines all of the cells inside our body. We have 100 trillion cells inside our body, and a lot of the fat inside our brain, right? Our brain cells are covered with fat, so
Yep.
we need a lot of good fat for good optimal performance in the human body. Now,
Absolutely. Yeah.
the right.
Yeah, this is actually a very clear diagram. I understand what's going on here. Like you're able to reshape how things change. You can make a change. You're reshaping how it affects the original genetic inheritance, really. But
Let me go back. You're absolutely right. Now, let me share with you again, Jay. So that is how nutrition impacts this scenario. Now, the HDL cholesterol will help us in this bucket here
okay,
into the total T bucket, right? Because it's going to be the total testosterone molecule. And then you mentioned that we've got you on the supplements that are based on your biomarker report card, and we're regulating which molecules the total, the big testosterone moves into. So you can regulate the enzyme. So when you came in, your body was making a little bit too much of the estradiol, the estrogen molecule. 20% of men make too much of the estrogen molecule. So you just reroute it, Jay.
yep,
So we rerouted yours and said, come back into this bucket, right? We call that a bucket. It goes back into that bucket here. Now
right.
you were also making too much DHT based on the free T ratio. So we re-regulated that enzyme to come back into the total T bucket. We
Yep,
then precisely matched essential amino acids that regulate the hair follicle growth, as well as help us move total testosterone towards the free testosterone direction, which is the good testosterone that gives us the energy, the libido, and all of the performance that we seek.
it's interesting because a lot of times those aminos are hard to get in modern diets, and it's difficult. So that's why we supplement. And I feel eventually, someday soon, 10 years or some 5 years, I don't know, everyone's going to be on, precision medicine based compound pharmacy supplementation. And if they're knocking 10 years off their life pretty much or more. Um,
72% of adults are taking a supplement, Jay, in the United States or the westernized civilization. They're not taking a precise
yeah.
supplement. So
So
they're already taking a daily supplement. So they understand that the human body, their human body, the one they have, is not operating as optimal as it should because they are lacking a nutrient, an essential
sure.
molecule. So they're taking a daily supplement. They're not doing it based on precise blood work, and that's the difference with precision medicine is taking supplements and prescription
Yep.
regulators called medications in the old school.
Yeah. It's
Medications, right? The natural ingredients
yep.
versus pharmaceuticals, they all start as natural ingredients. Man cannot create anything on earth. So man takes two known molecules derived from natural ingredients like the yam, the Mexican yam for the testosterone molecule, but you'll take two of those molecules and you'll mix them together and they turn into another molecule. We
Hmm.
did this 100 years ago, and we have about 100 active molecules that exist, that are safe, effective, and last for over 6 hours. That's all that we have. The only difference in precision medicine is taking the biomarker report card, your biome, your precise blood work, and matching out of those 100 approved molecules that regulate enzymes, which one does your body need, and in which doses does your body need based on your X-ray measured amounts of those molecules inside your body, which are influenced by your nutrition, which are your dietary choices. So
Yep.
We go
And
hand in hand and we partner with our clients. Otherwise, you can't solve it alone, Jay, and we
yep.
can't solve it alone. So we have to work together.
I personally believe that everyone should check their blood work every 6 months. Like not, every 6 months you check in and look at those biomarkers and see, because you don't want to become a statistic by not, what's the number one killer in North America? It's diabetes and heart disease, right? So you can prevent those things now by looking at numbers on, your report card. So like, why wouldn't you do that?
Jay, you're in the chefing business and you're in
Yep.
the being good business. Now, if you're in the financial industry sectors, where is the most money derived from? Treating and managing those types of conditions
Yes.
that the human is operating under during this generation.
Yeah.
So remember, the human species is not built and designed to be good and help each other, although the
Yep.
marketing logos state that.
Yep. Well, there's also still a stigma out there that people are following from the 80s and 90s with intermittent fasting, but they end up with reduced testosterone when they get their blood work done. So that doesn't work. And when I talk to people on nutrition calls and things, it's astonishing to me how long of a gap people eat. Like some people are only eating twice a day, 3 times a day, and they're waiting like 4, 5, 6 hours. Like that not only is affecting your blood sugar levels, but it's just a bad situation. But it's very common. It's shocking to me, So,
Jay,
um,
how many people have a background in cellular biology, physics, and understand how the small intestines absorbs protein at a rate of 6 to 10 grams per hour? Until you fully absorb and understand that one concept, I mean, you could have your entire podcast hour on that one phrase right there.
yeah.
Until
How?
you understand that, until you understand it, right? Until you really understand it, you've got people pretending to absorb 250 grams of protein per day. And Jay, you and I, we understand how the human body works. We've got medical degrees, we've got anatomists, we have biologists, we have people working with us. So we have tested these scenarios. And if the rate limiting capacity is 10 grams per hour, and you're awake 12, 14, 16 hours, Jay, what are we
Yeah.
maxing out at 160, 180 here if you book in your day? So the people that follow our regimen have the most protein inside their bloodstream measurable by our biomarker report card because we test them. And people that do intermittent fasting, Jay, have the lowest amounts of protein inside their bloodstream. So you can just use deductive reasoning. If you've got decreased amounts of one of the most vital macronutrient, the protein molecule that makes up over 90% of all the molecules inside of our body, if you are lacking in that macronutrient, your body will not perform optimally.
Well, there wasn't, back in the days, it used to be fat is bad, but like when we're talking specifically about HDL fats, like what other benefits, do these good fats have in our bodies?
Well, it's where they're located and what they do, right? They turn into all the good stuff that we have, and they're the ones that cover all the cells inside our body. So if we need the cell wall to perform as optimally as possible, that's what the good fat does. So we don't look at the total cholesterol. We throw that number out of the window because we've got people that come in with an HDL level at 40, which in the United States is known as normal. We're shooting for an optimal
Yeah.
over 60, and we have clients come in at 147, eating 3 avocados a day, or 142, eating almonds breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So
Yep.
you're not going to hurt yourself with those. So we don't really look at the total as much as we are the good and the bad. Same as with the hormonal axis. We're looking at all of the individual molecules to find out which ones do we want to shape and in which direction do we desire, because with epigenetics, you now understand precision science. Utilizing the first law of thermodynamics, you cannot make a molecule disappear. you can only reshape it, and by reshaping it, you will change and alter its function because you changed its shape. So it's all about
Exactly.
understanding the shapes today, and with the X-rays, we have the ability to measure every shaped molecule inside the bloodstream. And even though we seem very complex, and we are, only 200 different types of cells, 100 trillion number of cells, only about 4,000 molecules inside that bloodstream. We call it the Nile River. And we want that Nile River to be spring water and have the optimal amounts of hormones in all of the right buckets, because the hormones are messengers to the DNA inside the cell, and we want to reprogram the DNA. So DNA is an antenna that listens to its environment.
Right.
Today, we can optimize that conversation. So we're actually eavesdropping when we take a look at that blood work.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of research as well, and they were saying that HDL fats can, when you increase them, can actually prevent things like Alzheimer's as we get older, and dementia, and that stuff can get very dangerous as you get older. And so there, it's proven that increasing the HDL fats will prevent these things. Is that correct too?
You're right, Jay. So we've had 4 to 5 decades of processed foods and profit. Now we have science that is showing us the evidence of what these molecules are, and the cheapest molecules are usually not the most optimal for our fitness and our well-being, as we can logically discern.
Well, even my HMO doctor, when I go for a checkup, says eating HDL fats can improve your brain performance. So that's and that so that was good hearing that from my internal doctor for annual checkup. But also, let's talk about sleeping at night. You recommend something fatty, right, before bed, to like a shot of olive oil. What does that do at night to help you sleep better? And I want to get into sleep after that. Like, I take 6 ounces of a healthy protein shake with that has good fiber and chia seeds in it. Um, but like, why the fat at night?
So good protein to book in your day. So at night when you're sleeping, the small intestines is still able to absorb 20 to 30 grams of protein. So that's beneficial. The HDL fat at night, right? So we're getting our carbs through most of our calories, and also the HDL fat. So the carbs are in the morning to get us up and get us moving with a little bit of extra energy. Okay. Now after that, after 12-2-4, we need to move over to the fats. The fats, as you know, after a big Thanksgiving meal or big
Well,
holiday celebration,
I don't do
after
those anymore. If
okay.
it's bigger than this, I don't eat it.
All right, but you remember how it used to be. After one of those big meals, you're knocked out asleep. So
I
age,
don't.
yeah,
That's dangerous. That's dangerous territory. If I have to go to a restaurant, sometimes I tell them, I say, take half of that entree and box it before you present to me the entree, because I drink 2 glasses of water, then I eat, and I find I wait a half an hour, I'm not hungry anymore. So
that's
I
it.
spread out, the less volume, better ingredients, more frequency.
Well, you
Um,
figured it out, right? So that
well,
HDL at night is going to the HDL at night is going to help you get to sleep. So any of those fatty types of foods. So
yep.
the tablespoon of olive oil, half of the avocado, almonds, nuts, anything that you like to help you kind of get to sleep at night. So it helps you just
Yeah,
regulate the neurotransmitters.
I keep the shake in the fridge, so it's always there. Then take it out, buzz it. So even in the nighttime, it's always there, so I don't have those gaps. So speaking of sleep, I appreciate the poet's hour, and a lot of people are out grinding, hustling. They're, you know, that whole like Kobe Bryant, like you gotta hustle, you don't need as much sleep as you get older, but like, you know, you need to put, the work in, and but getting up too early, how much sleep does someone like our age actually need? What's the correct
That's
number?
it. Our age, that's a tough one because we have a lot of people that are listening on the podcast. So the body tells you. So my body probably gets 4 to 6 hours, but I think the best thing to do is really to kind of watch the sun. if you could get up when the sun came up, right, 4, 5, 6, right, and then be ready to go to sleep when the sun went down, 6, 7, 8, you would end up with about 8 hours of sleep. And you
Yeah.
would kind of work around the sun. Now, if you don't have the work schedule to do that, then you have to make sure that you manage those hours. But I think working with the sun the best that you can is probably optimal. Are you
Yeah.
able to work in a situation like that now with your work schedule?
Yeah, I find I wake before the alarm, but I also find it's more effective if I do something very physical in that day. Like that also helps. If you don't do something extremely physical daily, you're not going to be tired enough to get that deep REM sleep, I think. And if you're, messing around with sugars and things like that, and like, you're not going to my best brain function and ideas and things like that come right before I wake up in the morning, right at that end REM stage of, my sleep. That's when I wake up and start that's when my brain is at its highest form. Because guess what? And tell me if I'm wrong. That's when my testosterone is the highest of my day, is in the morning.
You're absolutely right, Jay. So the peaks of the testosterone molecule is in the morning. So it's something that we have to follow. So we're following biomarkers and blood work. We do our best to keep the times the same when we test the blood supply. So yeah, very excellent.
So now on the Stop and Regrow website, we have another consultation on there. It says Chef Jay FaceTime nutrition consult, Chef Jay FaceTime or Chef Jay Zoom nutrition consult, and like that's for people that want to review their goals, like review their current nutrition, kind of provide some nutrition strategies, and how to review options for ongoing nutrition coaching. So that's up there as well. It's a free call. So um, because I still find that people are in the dark with like people say, well, I'm eating 3 egg whites in the morning. I mean, but it's like, what kind of oil? How is that egg being cooked? It's for people that want more detail because like you have to be very careful if you're say running high on estrogen and you're taking these, lower class of cooking oils. Like, so
See,
those kind
right
of,
there, Jay. Right there is the issue. Is what is your estrogen before you move forward? So without blood work, right?
yeah,
Without someone investing that first amount, and it's the time. It's not just the money. I mean, I think
yep.
everyone views the $250
It,
fee to assess the blood work as being reasonable. And then if you didn't have your insurance that covered the blood work, $395 for all of those labs. It's a pretty fair
it,
price. One of them takes 2 weeks, and there's only 2 lab companies in the entire country that can analyze it using their X-ray vision. So I think that's a very fair price, and it's actually $1,800, and we have a very big discount. And hopefully those prices will stay
yeah,
as low as they can. I know that I thought that they were going up to $495 in 6 months, but so the labs are expensive. But welcome to
yep.
Earth. The human body is costs money, so
It,
you've got to dip in there with the blood work and take a peek at it. And having a doctor look at half of the blood work is going to give you half of the result. So, Jay, what
well,
you're seeking are optimal health seekers. So those are going to be not everyone that's calling in. So the people that are seeking optimal health by the research are going to be the executives.
yep.
They're going to be the managers of the company. They're going to be the supervisors. They're going to be the owners. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of those types of people. Now, there are lots of people that work for those people,
Yep.
Jay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
they may be the ones calling. So they need to get their managers and supervisors and owners and all those people to call in first, right? Let them do the hard work because they're ready to move forward, because that group is looking for a boost and looking for a benefit and looking for an outcome and looking for they're seeking the best outcome,
Mm-hmm.
not just an outcome. So you got to make sure you've got the optimal minded person that you're speaking to. So perhaps maybe have a questionnaire to kind of make sure that you're speaking to the right person, and that would help gauge them. But if you're not willing to do blood work to find out, as is today,
Yep.
where is your biochemistry before you start any kind of diet or any type of change, you're never going to be able to measure any change or outcome at the molecular level without having a starting place.
That's a beautiful segue, doctor, because when I talk to people about nutrition, or and they want to, and it's a commitment to, I call it like the Nettles cardinal rules. Like if you're not eating 20 to 30 grams of protein forget 4 hours, every 3 hours, 'cause you don't want to get into that fourth hour. If you're not doing that 5 times a day, 6 times a day, you're breaking the cardinal rule. And it's the same thing starting the program. If you're changing your diet to make a big significant change, it requires some money up front. And if you put that money up front, in the long term, it's going to be cheaper. And it's going to be more beneficial. You're going to live longer. You're going to not be a statistic with cardiac issues, diabetes. But yeah, is it a hassle to take one day of your week for meal prep and buy a kitchen? I don't want to buy a kitchen scale, Chef Jay. I want to go buy those flashy new Nikes, but it's like that's not going to help you in the long term. So even whether it's starting your program, changing your diet, it's going to cost some money up front. And if you're not willing to do that, then then they're not the individual for this program. And they're probably not going to do too well in their lives.
But you ask yourself, the money came from where? Your time. So you've invested time into something. And then you also mentioned the word daily. So it's a daily commitment to something that equals anything long term. So long term, every day people are committing some time into some effort that leads to a monetary payout. What they do with that monetary payout is what their mind decides to do. If they're not willing to take their time that they invested, they're using their human body to get the money. If they're not using the time to get the money, to take the money to invest into the machine that got them the money, that doesn't seem like a very smart investment. Okay, so of course you've got to invest time, effort, energy back into the vehicle that got you the money to allow you to be able to sustain your life.
Yep. So now's the fun time. I get to give you some feedback, and also, look, we're all human. I'm not perfect, but like you see me grabbing this thermos, but like what I have done, I invested in a water machine that has a gas cylinder, so I have carbonated water because I don't like flat water. So now I have a machine in my house that gives me this Pellegrino beautiful type water that I drink more of because I like the carbonation. But it gets me off that craving for beer, for soda. So you have to kind of trick the mind. The one gift you gave me, many gifts besides this fabulous head of hair and lowered anxiety from lowered estrogen, is it's just as easy to learn a good habit as it is to get rid of a bad one. So you just have to find ways to kind of trick your brain into a good behavior, which we can all do, because I did it, and if I can do it, trust me, anyone can. So my other feedback is, go ahead, Doc.
I don't know, they say habits are hard to break, and I say, yeah. They say, yeah, those bad habits are hard to break. I said, yeah, so are those good habits. And boy, they'll look at you pretty strange, Jay.
Yeah.
Because what you stripped away was the word good and bad, and you're left with the word habit. And habit is what you do, Jay. So you've got to stop doing something and replace it with something else. So people come in and they tell me, "Hey, Doc, what's my nutrition? What's my diet? Maybe I'm not going to like it." I said, "If you're not going to eat foods that you like that are on the menu,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to work." So let's start with things that you like. And usually, if you're an avocado and almond person, you're going to do great with us, because by over consuming the good stuff, you'll run out of room for the bad stuff. And parents today, their job for the kids is really to give them so many good habits, Jay, that the kids today grow up and they don't have room and time for what? The bad habits. Otherwise, the devil's hands or the idle hands of the devil's workshop. So you're going to leave kids with too much free time down here. And that's what's happening in the westernized civilizations today. There's just too much free time. So we've got to get into those good habits. So if you were pitching a commercial for that spritzer spray, it sounds delightful. So in the office, we'll take one.
Yeah. Speaking of daily, so my feedback is the hair topical. I came in I was presenting in my zone number 5, the crown area. What's interesting is as I get older, that area started to fill in, no problem. And I still use the topical, but I use it up on my hairline, temples. I use it everywhere. Thing I learned is I use it also after I shower while the hair is a little damp, so I can get it better into the scalp and not on the actual hair follicle. Like, so this is what's interesting that I just kind of noticed. I look and I'm like, my hairline up front is better, thicker now than I was when I was in my 30s. That's pretty incredible because my zone 1, 2, and 3 here wasn't an issue. I mean, a little bit in that region,
Receding, a little
but
receding back. It didn't
but
bother you.
it
It
was
didn't
it was
bother. The
back
zone
here.
five was your pain point, and these you said these are icing on the cake, doctor. If
But
these come back, I'll take them.
my hairline is fantastic. I mean, so is yours. So how is that? I guess it's the
That's how it
topical.
works.
It's everything. It's the whole thing. So
It's the entire process, right? You got to get everything right. What we're doing is we're growing you from the inside out, right? So it becomes a new mindset, a new lifestyle, a new health style.
that's it.
But
Health style
of
is
course, we've got a supplement that we have to make, and we made it in a pharmacy, and you have to take it. So it's getting the people to realize they're going to eventually one day take a daily supplement, Jay. It's either starting at age 65, like 72% of people are, or starting at age 45, which 55% of adults are, or starting at 20. So it's when you're going to start taking a supplement designed for your body to allow you to have the best, most optimal experience while you're down here.
That's it. All right, doctor. Thank you for your time. For the viewers, go to stopwhenyogrow.com. Book your consultation, book your blood work. It's the best thing you could do to invest in yourself. Doctor, thank you so much. I really appreciate your insight and just everything. Thank you. God bless you.
You got it. Thank you, Jay.
Okay.